Estamos acá en esta transmisión, acaba de ocurrir el show de Foals, de 1975. Está presentándose en estos precisos instantes y estamos con Janice, Jimmy. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey man.
How did you feel the vibe of this show in Chile compared to the previous one?
I think it was better than any show we've played here before. I felt like our energy was great and the crowd gave us a lot of love. And yeah, it just felt like there's more awareness about the band and it felt really good.
What about you? Do you feel that the Foals audience have expanded since the last time you came here?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can see it from the stage. The crowd looked bigger than last time, so yeah.
One of the main reasons about this visit is your new album, and for me, it's like a statement of proactivity. How this huge saga of songs. I mean, in these current days, 20 songs, 2 albums in a year. It's unusual in my point of view. How this? What was the main desire behind this new cycle?
There wasn't like a plan. We just wanted to go into the studio and be creative, and we just had a good time. And we felt like we were very fertile. And it felt like this is a time when music is needed more than ever in a way. We felt like a real desire to make lots of music, and certainly with the lyrics I really wanted to communicate with the real world. And at the end of the process we had 20 songs, and we thought, what's the best way of communicating those songs with the world? And we felt like it was to put 2 records out that are connected, but that have their own body, their own space and their own body, separate. So that's what we're doing.
And is it true that the next episode of this saga will include a more guitar-oriented sound?
Yeah, I think so. I think the second album is definitely more guitar-heavy. Yeah, definitely, right. There's some pretty heavy moments on it. So yeah.
Talking about heavy rock and the math rock that you expose in the Antidotes era, how do you see those songs nowadays? Songs like Olympic Airways, the classic tunes that you still play.
We enjoy them. I think there's a freshness to them. There's like a simplicity to a lot of them. The ones that we play, we enjoy playing. There are other songs from the past where maybe we didn't play them quite as much because for whatever reason they don't feel as vibrant 10 years later. But I think that the ones that we play, we feel that they have a power to them still. And there's like a naivety to them that I think we enjoy. There's like a youthfulness to them.
Checking the title and listening to songs like Exit, I want to know, and I was wondering if the current political agenda affects you, the creative process, in some way. Now with this shitty topic of Brexit and this worldwide thing.
Oh, I'm sure it did. I mean, it weighs heavy on everyone's mind, doesn't it? It seems it's everything's changing, and maybe not for the good. So that's definitely going to influence us.
Do you think that talking about, because you are one of the powerful, in my opinion, powerful bands with a heavy guitar sound in this current Lollapalooza, do you think that the rock has a lack of social commitment? The current bands has a lack of social commitment nowadays.
What do you mean, like?
I think hip hop as a genre is leading this aspect of political music nowadays. What do you think about it?
Yeah. Well, there's very little political bands out there. I think people are afraid to do it, and I think it's fine if a band doesn't want to involve politics in their music. If they want to keep it separate, I think that's absolutely fine. And I think maybe the majority of bands want to do that. So, as long as there are bands out there who are still being political, then it's good.
Sorry.
I think we felt that. I mean, I felt like a kind of responsibility with the lyrics to make engage with the outside world on this record. I think that I wouldn't have felt comfortable if we'd put out albums that ignored the outside world. Not necessarily overtly political, but it needs to engage with society and the social fabric. I think that's important.
Tratando de sintetizar esta conversación, no estamos con mucho tiempo, por eso no hemos hecho la traducción simultánea. Es imposible a estas alturas del partido no ser político y Foals lo ha demostrado en este disco que es parte de una saga, son 2 álbumes en menos de un año y 20 canciones. Uno de los detalles interesantes es cómo Foals ha decidido autoproducirse. I want to know what drives you to finally self-produce a Foals album, work on your own terms after so many time.
I think we just got a little tired of working with producers. And we just felt like it was time to explore what an album would be like with less interference from the outside, you know. And some of it was to do with, the main thing we really wanted was just time and space. We didn't want to feel like there was an agenda. And inevitably when you employ a producer, there has to be some sort of agenda often. So I think that we wanted to avoid that. And we tried it out, and we weren't committed to not working with the producer at the beginning, but then it just felt right, and I think that if it felt wrong at a point, then we would have maybe changed approach, but it just felt right. So,
did you imagine a Foals album without the guitar elements?
I mean, probably not, but it'd be interesting. Yeah.
Why, in your opinion, rock has lost prominence in the last years?
What?
Why, in your opinion, rock as a genre has lost prominence in the last year?
I think that that's quite a complicated question. I think that some of it is to do with, some of it like lies at the blame of rock music. I think a lot of guitar music does just seem kind of dusty and old-fashioned, and it's repetitive of things that have happened in the past. It's too retrogressive, a lot of it. But I also think that a lot of it is kind of to do with social media and to do with the recalibration of people's ears. If you listen to the radio stations now, it's very unusual to hear a contemporary song with many actual organic instruments. Almost all music, pop music, you hear the general soundscape that we're surrounded by now is artificial, it's software-based music. So I think that innately guitars and guitar bands, they just sound out of step with the cultural fabric. And I also think that there are shifts in culture, and that's not a bad thing. Like it's not just a bad thing that it's changed a bit, but I think, yeah.
We are almost on time. Last question: what is next after this South American tour? And what was the last band that caught your attention powerfully?
Well, after this, we're touring and touring and touring until it gets boring.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're doing a long old tour.
And the other question: what was the last rock band that shocked you in some way?
She plays guitar. I've been listening to this album by Julia Jacqueline called Crushing, and it's pretty amazing, actually. It goes deep.
I really like a band called Yak from England, and I like a group called Petite Noir from Cape Town.
Okay. We are on time. Thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure. We definitely see you in this in this upcoming gig. What can the Chilean fans expect for this sideshow? This upcoming sideshow?
Well, we're certainly going to play more new material and all the hits. Yeah. So yeah.
Maximum intensity.
Yeah.
Intensidad máxima es lo que se va a esperar con este sideshow de los Foals. Ha sido un gusto, les agradecemos el tiempo, tuvimos poco tiempo, por eso no pudimos hacer la traducción simultánea. Esto fue Foals, y no se lo pierdan en este sideshow que van a realizar en el Teatro La Cúpula. Foals en Sonar en Lolla.